Hi, Pam.
Hello, Michelle.
Thank you for agreeing to do this interview. And this is for San Diego Design Week for inspiration. So, what inspires you? Pamela Magnus didn't plan on having her own firm, but priorities change when you have children. With her husband, Hector, they created Architects Magnus to watch their children grow and make their own focus. Both being architects, they designed their home, which is beautiful, to function for their lifestyle of both family and business. 20 years and two sons later, they're still passionate about designing for the lifestyle of each client. On the side, Pamela currently enjoys volunteering with her son on everything from bingo with seniors to making burritos for the homeless. Her women's land use group keeps her involved in civic responsibility. Her support system includes the online architect community, her long-standing book club, family time, and morning walks with her husband. Gratitude is on top of her list every day. And I'm in the Entre Architect community, or at least the Context and Clarity community with Pamela and or Pam, as I call her. And I believe Jeff Eccles would be very proud of your bio.
Oh, yay, I hope so.
Definitely would.
That's my goal.
Okay, so Pam, what are your first recollections of experiencing architecture?
I would say when I was little, my mom is from Okinawa. So when I was little, we would visit all her family out there. She had like a dozen sisters and one brother. And so the traditional homes in Okinawa had the tatami mats and the garden in the center of the house. They were really that traditional style. So that was very different from anything here. And then we would go over to Tokyo, and then they had the high rises and all the bright lights and all of that. So it was a big contrast. And I remember when I was little that my cousin lived in a mansion. So I was all excited. Ooh, a mansion. And then when I got there, it's like a 400 square foot condo. And in Japan, mansion just means condo. So it's nothing like a mansion out here.
She had a dozen sisters?
She had, yeah, 10, 11, 12. I actually can't keep track of all of them. They're all still in Japan. Most of them are still in Japan. Um, so it was exciting to just to see how different the architecture is out there in general. And then we went quite a few times, so it really made an impression.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's great. That's great. So, what are three classic buildings that you like and why?
Okay, I have a bunch of buildings that I like, so I'm going to pick three that I have that I've actually seen in person. So,
It's
first
always
one,
hard to just pick three, and it kind of depends on, people's answers change depending on what they're into at the time, and yeah.
right. I
Because
mean, there's a bunch I'd like to see on my to-do list. But one's like Salk Institute, which is actually very close, right? It's like a half hour away. But
yeah,
that one in college, I don't know, you remember Dr. Cooper in
yes,
college since we went to
yeah,
school together. And
yeah.
Dr. Cooper had a California architecture class. And so we got to do field trips for all the buildings we saw. And so Salk was on the list. And so I didn't even know Salk was in San Diego at the time. And so we came down and just seeing it, and the waters, the view is perfect, the day is perfect, the hang gliders are in the distance, and just the order of it all was just like, oh my gosh, this is so cool.
Mhm.
And I haven't even been back to see it, with the new edition, because I don't want to know if the edition ruined it or not. Have you?
Oh, oh yeah, no, I sneak in all the time.
And
I mean, I did go on the tour. I think with that the edition was there like during one of the design awards. I think we actually yeah, for
yeah.
the one of the design awards like years ago was in the edition in the auditorium. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
What was funny about that is that really everybody was up in the courtyard and they didn't want to come in. And I swear, I think that was probably when they decided like that they probably shouldn't have like this great piece of architecture like where they
You're
were
worried to
sign
touch it?
awards
Or
because, well, no, because they would never have people come in, right? Everybody was like, they had to start calling people in, like, please come in, because everybody was watching the sunset
oh, right.
from the courtyard, and they didn't want to come in. And I think that was the last time that they ever. I think that was the last time that they ever had it there.
Oh, well. Oh, well.
I mean, it's beautiful. Yeah, I go in. I sneak in through the back.
Oh, good. I'll have to do it
I did
sometime
during
then.
COVID too. I did
Oh,
during.
wow.
Oh yeah, no, I totally did during COVID.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
there. I'm
funny.
just getting a picture.
Okay, so that's one.
Yeah, yeah.
Second one is La Sagrada Familia in
Okay.
Spain, because that's where Hector and I got married.
Really?
Um, yeah, so
Oh my
we just
gosh.
decided, okay, we want to get married someplace, that has architecture and, someplace. We thought La Sagrada Familia is pretty much a construction site for years and years and years.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it was perfect. So we went out there, and some friends, some family came. It was just total renegade. It wasn't planned. We just kind of showed up and had our own little private wedding in the corner.
Uh-huh.
There was
Okay.
these like English schoolgirls that were there, and so I threw the flowers to them, and they all caught the flowers. So that was fun. We totally winged it. But we figure, it's not even done yet. So maybe, after it's done, then when we go back for a big anniversary or something, then we can see it finished. So
Yeah.
that one is
You go
really meaningful.
I think you can go inside. I mean, people have told me that they're going inside, but yeah, when I saw it, it was when I saw it in 1987. Yeah, in 1987, it was not. You couldn't even go inside. You could only.
Oh, we could go
Yeah.
in back then, but I'm sure it's changed. Like
Mm.
since that was a long time ago.
1987, or when you got.
Oh, well, no, 2000 is when we got married. So
Yeah.
so we could go in then, but now, I mean, it's changed. It's always changing. That's the point. That's what exciting about the building. Uh, let's see. So I just need one more. One more. Um, I like I like chapels in general, just because they
Mhm.
have like there's these little buildings with like so much meaning. So like if like like one of Ando's chapels, or like Ronchamp, like Ronchamp would be a good one because that one is so out there, and then
Mhm.
it's just a different shape, and then when you go inside, it has all these deep windows and all the colors and all that. So that's something that you get there and you're really stuck with the impression of how cool it is to be in that space. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
that would be three.
Yeah. I haven't been to Ranch.
That's it. It's hard to get to. I think that's part of what makes it so amazing. It's like, oh my gosh, I finally got here. Where is it?
I know some of the ones that I would see, I mean, because I was in Europe for a whole year, but I mean, I just didn't, some of them, it's like I didn't go there, right? It was kind of like I think some people went to that one, maybe they went when they went skiing or something. And so they
Oh,
were able to kind of like go, right? They were going outside of the normal, I don't know, the kind of like the basic, right? Kind of the basic cities where all of the architecture is concentrated and you know,
right. Well, plus you're in Denmark. That's kind of far, right?
no, we no, I went everywhere.
Oh, it didn't stop you.
Everywhere. No, I mean, yeah, I went to islands in Greece, like Greek islands, but which we couldn't go to. Actually, I went with Andy, Neil, and Serena.
Oh,
Yeah, so we went down because Serena was studying in Italy, and so
all right.
Neil and Andy and I first we went to we had a study tour. The Danish program had more free time to go on. I mean, we went on a study tour, so we were in this Amsterdam, Paris study tour, and then we could go on spring break. So then we went to Barcelona, and then we went to go pick up Serena in Florence, and then we went down to Brindisi and took the ferry over to Athens, and then we
Oh,
went,
wow.
yeah, and then we went to a few of the islands. We couldn't go to the ones that we wanted to. We wanted to go to Santorini, but there was ferry strike, so we could only go to the ones that were close by, and which were Paros and forget the two other ones. And then
It was
yeah,
a long time ago.
yeah. And then Neil and Serena went back to Brindisi that way. And then Andy had talked me into going through that was an interesting trip because we had to go through Yugoslavia, what was then Yugoslavia, and that was you know, like I think he owes me big on that one, but and then we finally ended up in Austria. But that was like the train trip that I wasn't sure whether we were gonna make it back.
Oh, but you did, so that's good.
Right? We had to get a visa to go, but we just like showed up, right? We just like got on the train and then went, and then so they basically had to they had to stop the train and then wait for somebody to come on so we could pay them money to give us a visa so that we could go through the country because we hadn't gotten the visa ahead of time. So they just like it was crazy. It was crazy. I mean,
It's a good memory now. Now
yeah,
that you made it back.
now, but I didn't feel very much protection from Andy. If anything was gonna happen, I was probably gonna have to.
Just make a run for it.
Yes, exactly. I mean, we were going through like war-torn Yugoslavia, right?
Right, yeah, no,
And then
that's
people
scary.
getting onto the train with animals, and they were all, because of the culture and the religion and everything, everybody was, and it was super hot on the train. So I was in a sundress, and so it's like I was bearing too much skin, and it was interesting. It was interesting. Like,
Well, that's okay.
oh, so what do you like about being an architect?
Well, let's see. I think I like when it all comes together because it's hard, right? You have a problem to solve, and so you really want to meet the client's expectations and make it something meaningful. And so you come up with this design that they love, but then you got to be hopeful that it's going to look like the design. So then you wait for it to be built, and then there's another marker, and then it's once they move in that you get the oh my gosh, I'm so happy to be here. So I think that's the best. The best part is when they're like, oh my gosh, I love it here. If you get a like when you get a text saying, oh, thank you, I love it, or they send pictures because they're having fun, having a bonfire in the back. Well, not a bonfire, but like having dinner or
Yeah,
something in
yeah,
the house.
yeah. Family
Um,
traditions in a space that you created.
right, right. They want to share it with you. They think to
Yeah,
share it with you that it's going to be exciting. So I think
yeah,
that's the best part. Like just seeing it follow through,
yeah.
because so many don't make it all the way through, right? Where you come up with a design and something happens, but when it follows through and it looks just like the rendering, then it's like so exciting.
Well, I mean, I think a lot of mine does, but I'm I get preliminary estimates. So
Hmm.
we scale back at that point. If we need to scale back, we're scaling back at that point. And then, and then it's right, it's like that maybe they can't have all the details that they want, as far as
Right.
truly, custom as far as, a lot of those things, which I always enjoyed designing in school on a conceptual level. And so there are still those concepts that are in the project, but they're maybe not as strong as they would have been if had there been like kind of more of like a bigger budget in order to do that. Sometimes it's just like, okay, they have this need, and this is what they need. They need, more rooms for things, and then it just, you're kind of like doing the best with what you can, you know
Right. Right.
which
But
is,
when it all comes together, when they actually have it and they can do it, that's the best.
yeah. Well, I mean, a lot of my stuff is built. I mean, I would probably say like every, that the stuff is, and there's only been a few that were the kind of these projects that, there was one project that I did. I mean, you've got those projects too, where you got the and then they kind of he had a construction estimator because he had a cost estimator because he was actually a landscape architect and did these big projects. So he had a cost estimator do it. And then they kind of like looked at it and then they decided not to do this big addition remodel at their home in Point Loma. Instead, they decided to buy, a ranch house on Mount Helix so that they just had more outdoor space in order to do kind of the hobbies that he wanted, which was landscape and fixing his Porsches and and she thought that it was gray in Point Loma all the time, so she wasn't really interested in staying in that house. And it had been his bachelor house. It had been his bachelor house, and I was convinced that it's like she just didn't want it. She just didn't like that house, and it wasn't. Didn't seem to be that like no matter and I mean, that concept was great because, right, he was a landscape architect. So we had this water element that went all the way through it. And it was, I mean, I just thought that that was just going to be this great project. And then, it didn't make it.
Right.
And they rented the house out, which of course they were like, okay, we can make more money and then pay the mortgage for this other house with with that's going to have the land, for us to be able to do what we want to. But,
Yeah.
So what else do you like about being an architect?
Let's see. Well, it's not like being a doctor where you're saving lives, but I feel like it's something you're changing lives. Like you feel like that you could see the difference. The before and after is obvious, right? So
Yeah.
that you're changing lives is like a lot of jobs don't don't get your accountant doesn't get as excited about, like you just you're changing a life. So, well, I guess never mind.
Well, no, I obviously, right? I mean, I had that discussion that like accountant fired me, but yeah.
Right. That's what I thought about.
I'm not sure I was changing her life in the way that she wanted it to be. So,
Right.
so she,
Oh my gosh.
the other guy was more than happy to like work with me in these little steps to get the job done, and she had a little patience. The person that bought it out had little patience for me, but I guess I'll just keep working. I'll just keep working. I'll just keep working.
But that's why we want to be an architect and not an accountant. So
Yes, exactly, exactly. Um, yeah. So, the one is, what would you like to say about the future of architecture?
I have no idea. I think things are changing so fast. Like with technology, maybe they always feel like they're changing, but right now feels like technology is taking over so fast with AI and virtual reality. And there's a lot of exciting things like that you can walk through a space without, before it's built.
Mhm.
And, all of that that's going on is really exciting. So I'm hopeful we'll have the technology we need to deal with like, climate change, rising waters and all that stuff. So hopefully that will help us solve big world problems because the problems are happening and we're going to have to deal with it. And that's what architecture is, problem solving. So I hope technology helps us in the future um, doing all of that. So fingers crossed.
Yeah, that's all we can help for, right?
Yeah. There's a lot of big problems that are being thrown at the earth. So let's see if we can do something.
Um, Another one was the inspiration question, which what inspires you in architecture, and what inspires your work in architecture, or kind of like what inspires um, how do you think your work inspires others? And you can kind of answer any of those things.
Okay.
As far as an inspiration question, some people are like, how does my work inspire other people? I mean, it does. I think it definitely does, but
I'm not going to answer that.
Well, I mean, it's interesting. I mean, yesterday, like with Kevin, I mean, it was very interesting because Kevin actually, I mean, like many of us probably, I mean, I wasn't raised in a house where, an architect had designed it. I mean, maybe there was some architect that had designed it, but it was very much, I mean, it wasn't, kind of like an 80s or 70s tract house. I mean, it was like an
Mhm.
older tract house, but um but as far as it being like kind of this architect design, like unique design, you know, with
Yeah, that's true because I grew up in apartments and condos and just nothing special. So it's actually pretty funny that our kids, like, we designed our own house, so they're actually living in an architect designed house. So they have
yes,
a whole different perspective than we do. So
yeah,
well,
yeah, yeah.
but they don't want to be architects, so it didn't inspire them in that way.
I mean, seriously, Pam, I would not be surprised if they don't if they don't go into it later on in life or something that's very similar to that. I mean, and they just have to come around to it, or maybe they decide to like not do anything. But I mean, one of the reasons why I think that our kids didn't go in is because I mean, and they flat out said it. Well, we hear you guys complaining about the profession all the time, and I'm like, well, I know that you hear us complaining about it, but then also it's like so different than so many other professions.
Hmm.
I mean, the problem. So, and then we run our own business, so there's kind of like that whole, aspect to it that,
Right. Yeah,
you know,
that's the same with us, right? Because the business is at home, so they see it all the time. So I can see how that's too much architecture.
right,
So
I've got
that's fair.
hands, right? I've got all my paper, there's so much paper and and the kids are like, what, your plans are everywhere. And now you're scattered all over the dining room table and you've got your home office and which is open, I mean it's like in now it's in a separate area at least, but
Yeah,
it
but
is
if they have a school project and need a board or pens or whatever, we've got it. You need
there's
a poster
no
board, you need
doubt. Yes, yes. There's no doubt about it that yeah, the kids of architects do probably have the best school projects,
right.
without, even without, I mean, I know some people like help their kids a lot with them, but even without, I mean, I think that they just can manage to like do some great projects just on their own. But
Yeah, markers alone, we've got at least 20 shades of gray. Remember those?
I know. It's so funny. If I do, I like typically I'll do interviews and they're like once or twice a month. Okay. But when I do them all together, it's funny how the different interviews will relate to each other. So it's like,
Oh.
so yesterday morning, Michael and I were like laughing about markers, and then we're like now talking about right about
Oh,
markers. And he was like talking to we,
that's because you went to school with both of us, so we go back to school.
I know, which I'm not good at markers. I was never good. I mean, give me a colored pencil and I can do very well, but markers are like, I don't know, they're extreme. I know that we had this rendering class that I had at community college and we had to do markers and I just like was not thrilled about having to use markers. But so so what do you think inspires you then about is there
Oh, so I'd say on a project,
Mhm.
like we look at inspiration, like it's either what makes the client special and what makes the site special, right? So the for the client, it's like you're trying to find the stories. Do you have a collection that has a story behind it, something that we can use as a focal point, or do you like the party so you want big spaces, or would you rather have this like little quiet hideaway, things like that for the client? Because it's going to be for them. So it's got to be meaningful for them. And then
Yeah.
the same with the site, it's their site. What makes it
Mhm.
special or different? Um, like sometimes we'll like picnic out on the site and like
Okay.
wait a while so that we could see the sunset or we know it's gets breezy in the afternoon, things like that. And then we bring a baggie and we'll put dirt in it and plants and rocks and like all the different things because we might use it for the color palette later. And so, just like any site visit you do too, right? Like you want to grab as much as you can that's special about the site so that you can make it really unique in how you develop the house.
Yeah.
So
And so do you and Hector, did you come about that on your own, or was that something that you did at another firm and then also, brought
do
it
what?
to, as far as doing those things, as far as, like conceptual things about the materials and the
Oh, yeah,
palette?
I think we just started doing that. I think we started doing that when we had like a project that we couldn't just drive too easily.
Uh-huh.
And then we'd have to, go to Santa Barbara. So we're gonna stay there a while. So let's hang out. Hey, let's have a glass of wine. Let's have a picnic. Oh, and look over there. And so just start collecting things. But we always do it now. Like we have our bag and our little goodies that we bring back with us.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we almost always tie the palette
Uh-huh.
to it or somehow relate to those things so that it goes along. So yeah, I think we've
Yeah.
always, yeah, we started early doing that.
Yeah. And I mean, I think that that's something that we probably do subconsciously. I mean, I think that like
Yeah,
a lot of my things are subconsciously, but then I don't bring a lot of those conceptual things, which maybe I should be bringing more of that into the mix, kind of like showing them how we do that instead of like this kind of subconscious thing about like, okay, I picked this because I think it looks,
yeah,
which I think is like what I typically, say, or I have something in my head that I don't divulge because maybe I don't even know that it's there, right? It's like so invest where with the two of you working together, you can kind of,
yeah.
push it.
Discuss it.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sure it comes naturally to you as far as, and because we like to like on the drawings if we're calling out the colors for during concept,
Uh-huh.
this blue from the sea breeze or like we'll
Yeah.
name it so
Yeah.
that it makes sense, otherwise you're just like then it's not meaningful, right? So the whole
Mhm.
point is how we're going to make it meaningful. So even if a client says I really love blue, it's like why,
Uh-huh.
you don't just like the color, what does it remind you of, or so you have a story to tell, or
Yeah.
so
And I mean,
yeah.
do you use kind of like a survey or kind of a questionnaire?
We used to, but it was sometimes we do. Some people are kind of turned off by surveys.
Uh-huh.
Um, and so we find like just talking about it in person seems a little more casual so we can get their visuals too, right?
Yeah.
So I think that helps. We used to do the survey thing, but then it felt maybe less personal.
Well, yeah, because I mean, I've heard other architects talk about that, and definitely like in our Entre Architect group, there's kind of been that thing of like, oh, is there a survey? And I've always just kind of thought like, oh, maybe I should be using a survey because maybe
Yeah.
for some people that would be, but you are just like kind of writing notes about the person. Yeah.
Yeah, and we used to do it, send it to them, especially like a husband and wife, because they'll have different answers. So we would be
Mhm.
like, okay, you answer them separately. You could see each other's notes, but you can't make each other change your notes. We need to hear from both of you. We need both personalities represented. But then we thought, okay, let's just all meet together and they both need to be there and then we'll just talk about it. Then we can see their expressions. If she says, I love pink, and he says, I hate pink, then we can see that we'll pick a different color.
Yeah. I mean that's great. I mean, I know that like some people have said, oh, you must have a great marriage. And I was like, no, I don't have a great marriage. I said, but I can design things for you. I said, I can manage that. I can design things for you. I can't repair or fix your marriage. I mean, whatever it's maybe
Right. Sometimes.
yeah, I don't help you.
Or you potentially can prevent a split, right? If
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I've had any clients that have gotten a divorce after. I know some people have said like, "Oh, I have a lot of clients that have divorced after." And I said, I mean, I got divorced after I had my practice, right? But I don't think that any of my clients have gotten divorced after that.
oh, that's
I don't think so. Yeah, you know. Yeah. No, that's really great. Okay, is there anything else that inspires you or
Let's see, what else? What else? Um, I think just how people live, or like how, like what doesn't inspire me is someone that says, okay, I want a Mediterranean home. And you're
Uh-huh.
like, why? Like you're just repeating something. Is that really how you live now? Let's talk about, like, without naming rooms, let's just
Uh-huh.
talk about how you live, and then we'll come up with what it's going to look like. So I think just figuring out how people live is inspiring to be able to solve that problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
that's
great.
fair.
That's great. Very inspiring.
Oh, how apropos.
So I think, yeah, that's it. Is there anything else that you want to say?
No, that was fun.
No?
Yeah,
Okay.
we always have fun. So I'm glad we got through it without laughing too much and ruining the whole thing. That
No,
was my
no,
concern. Oh,
no. Yeah. Okay. Uh, so Pam, thank you so much for um the interview.
thank you.